Hello, everyone, and good evening to you, or good day, depending when you're seeing this. This is Roger with Groovis Games Unlimited, and a huge and warm hello to everyone. Wow, I haven't chatted with you in 13 days. I was counting the days, actually. It is really, really nice to be back with you, and I hope you guys are doing good, enjoying the spring, and we're heading into the summer, which I am really looking forward to. But of course, I hope you're doing great, staying safe, enjoying any games. Maybe you're playing, doing some outside yard work, which I was told by my little maiden of Witherbrook Forest I need to get out there and clean up the yard. But it's a really good time, and I just hope everyone's doing great. So let's just get into this, because I have been absolutely busy, as some of you may know. I have actually the Kickstarter update. I'm a little delayed because it's been so busy. I'm working on that in tandem with what we're about to discuss today. Yes, the revised rulebook is done. I am elated and so happy how it came out. It came out excellent. I think you're really going to enjoy what you're going to see. I had Jackson in here and a few other people, and they were going through it, and I'll coin the phrase that Jackson said: this is a night and day difference from the original rulebook. And of course, Ilpo, my very awesome and good friend Ilpo, who's pretty much joined Groovis Games Unlimited for always doing, the work on various things. Definitely with rulebooks, he's just sensational. You're gonna be pleasantly surprised how it came out, and I'm just super happy with it. So we're gonna take a look at that, and I think you're gonna enjoy that. And actually, let me just scan over here. That's, of course, we looked at some of this here. I have a lot of new stuff to show you. We're going to actually look at the whole revised rulebook tonight, and the only thing we have left to do is put in the index, and that's almost done. We have everything. I have everything already set to go in, but you're going to be very impressed with the very meaty and girthy index, and that's, we're going to wrap that up tomorrow. And you're going to be seeing a lot of stuff with that. You're going to be surprised how compact it is, and I'll save something else for a second. This is what I wanted to share with you, and I shared this in the community section. Our incredible production manager from the manufacturer got a hold of me, what was it, last weekend? About last weekend, 9 days ago, and we're on the schedule for Dungeon Crusade to start production. So I just I grabbed the Slayer of the Realm edition for the game, and right when I got this update, you know me, I'm right there, Johnny on the spot, giving you any update I get. Production starts at the end of the month. Well, it's the weekend right now, so this coming week, that will be beginning. Games ready to ship at the start of June. How do you like that? Yes, finally, and I am so glad this is wrapping up for all of us. I'm very excited for you to get this. We're going to talk a lot about this, and we're going to play that by ear. They're saying start of June. I don't know if it's June 1st or June 5th, but of course, this is not our first rodeo with Dungeon Crusade. If you saw before, I'm always giving you videos and updates, anything, pictures, so you can expect to see tons of updates on, in the manufacturer, because they send it to me. They're just terrific about doing that. And then, of course, I share the videos with you immediately. So you'll be always in the loop. And you know me, you can't shut me up with stuff like that. So you have that to look forward to. I guess we could chat about this really quick. This kind of goes into that. Now, don't be worried by this. The Pledge Manager will be closing. And I just put here, and I'm just being very candid with all of you, around the end of May. We're going to play it by ear. But I just want to say, first and foremost, you don't have to worry about going in there right now. Don't, take your time, relax, chill. It's going to be a while. So I just want to put that in your head that we're going to be doing some promotion. I have an incredibly different video, a short video that I put together, or I'm going to be putting together, that shows Dungeon Crusade in 3 minutes. It's going to be a fast video, and very, very quick, but it's going to, for new people coming in, okay, what's Dungeon Crusade? What's the Avalon Adventure board game? It's going to be like these little machine gun videos right in a row, so you can see everything about it. A much different video for me, but I think you're going to enjoy that. That'll be for our promotion. So stay tuned for that. But going back to the Pledge Manager, like I said, We'll play it by ear. Don't worry. No hurries of going in there to finish up your pledge. But, I'll be giving plenty of fair warnings when it is. But I do want to say something important, and I just remembered this. You want to make sure that your email is in your order, because there were some people last time, I think they turned off notifications or something. I can't remember quite what it was, and some people didn't have an email. If your email is not associated to your pledge manager for your game, you won't get tracking information, because I had people getting a hold of me asking where their tracking was, and you know me, I was doing everything I could for everyone, trying to work with this fulfillment. And so make sure that your email is in the order and it's active, because that's how you're going to get your tracking notifications. I just wanted to point that out. Okay, I think that's it. I said that. So games ready to ship, start of June. And I will let you know more about that. And actually, lastly, I work very closely with the production managers at the manufacturer, like very closely. So you will be getting updates on just everything. They're just terrific people. We work very well together, and I am in the stuff deep as it's getting produced to make sure everything turns out excellent for everyone. Okay, I think that's it for that. The revised rulebook. Let's move on to that, because I'm excited, very excited to share this with you. Again, this was just tons of hours, really, and probably in the hundreds of hours to do this, but I'm happy we took the time. Ilpo, you're awesome. And before we shoot over to that, let's take a look at this and let me explain. I just threw this image together because I think it's better to show you than explain it. Within the revised rulebook, it's very condensed, as you're going to see. It's very straight to the point, and we're going to take a look at that in a second. But within that revised rulebook, these are the 8 rule sets within the revised Crusaders Handbook. And some of you may not even know about all of this. Yes, all of this is in Dungeon Crusade. So let's just go over this real quick. The 8 rule sets within the revised rulebook, in the revised Crusaders Handbook rulebook. Of course, the Dungeon Crusade rule set, that's probably the biggest thing right there. Again, I worked with the amazing Ilpo, and guys, believe it or not, as you'll see, it's 9 pages. Now there's images on each side, but it's way scaled down, very direct to the point to get you into the game, learn how to play, and all that. There were a lot of revisions that were made to that too, extra little things to throw in for you. But the Dungeon Crusade rulebook is 9 pages, images on each side, but still, that's quite cut down from what it was, and I'm very happy how that came out. Avalon Adventure board game, we looked at that already. Very nice graphic design, as you're going to see. That's at the start of the rulebook, and that's how I wanted it to be. That's how you can start. It's optional. You start Dungeon Crusade with the Avalon Adventure board game. So you're going to read that rule set. Don't go into Dungeon Crusade yet. Get acclimated to this, because it's a very simple game. Get your feet wet with this. Explore the land of Avalon. Kind of absorb yourself with all the lore and the world building I did for it. I think you're really going to enjoy that. Okay, and then that leads into Dungeon Crusade, as you're going to see. Another rule set, which we looked at, I just put this, there you enter the Tomb of Kaladar, the ultimate death trap dungeon. The Tomb of Kaladar is, of course, the 4th dungeon board in the game, and that has its own rule set. And like we looked at before, it's only 1 page, but still, it's a rule set, and you just do a couple things differently. We already looked at that, and of course, we're going to look at that coming up in the revised rulebook. Solo Crusader mode, that's kind of, the game really kind of took off with this, and of course, we're very grateful. That rule set is in there for you too. So, you can play the classic way with the multiple heroes, or you can play just, with hiring mercenaries from the new mercenary camp. You can hire up to 1 or 2, play the Solo Crusader mode. Then we're going to look at the back of the rulebook is the 4 House of Chance games. Tower Attack, Skulljack, Heroes versus Monsters, and The Adventures of Bravely the Knight. I love designing all of them. The Adventures of Bravely the Knight is very awesome. Without further ado, let us take a look at the revised Crusaders Handbook. And here we are. The Dungeon Crusade Crusaders Handbook revised rulebook. So I threw it into this format to go through it. I think this will work pretty good for showing all this off. And I'll get rid of this. Excuse that thing might pop up there. But you guys seen a lot of this, but you're going to see some new stuff here. And again, I just want to stress, we have to input the rest of the index entries, the pages there we're going to see, add a few others. So we're going to finish that up tomorrow. And guess what? The Crusaders Handbook revised edition, whatever you want to call it, is finished. All right, so this is page 1. And then, of course, when you open this page, this will be on the reverse side, all the heroes of Avalon. We, of course, looked at that before, and I'm very happy to show you the very awesome new table of contents. How do you like that? I want to throw out a big, huge kudos and praise to Freddie Lopez. We worked with him. I worked with him on the heroes. He did all the heroes and monsters in the game. As you can see, they look awesome. So while I do the graphic design, just put all this together, I just want to give credit to the amazing artist, because without that, I couldn't do the graphic design that I do. So huge kudos to Freddie and everyone else. And I think this is a very striking, awesome image to set the tone for Dungeon Crusade. And this reminds me of something. It's very busy now, but I have something I think you guys are going to enjoy. I love seeing behind the scenes. Like how things like movies or music, when bands are in the studio recording. So what we're going to do is not now because I am slam busy, but I thought it'd be nice to do a video of kind of all of the stuff that was produced for Dungeon Crusade, like rough drafts and concept art, and like the succubus here. There was quite a few revisions before this final one. So I was talking to my very good friend Julius, and I think, let me know if you guys would like that, hang out for about 20-25 minutes and show you some of the stuff that was made for the game, early concepts. I think we'd have a good time with that. But getting back to this is the nice table of contents, of course, all redone, and everything right to the point so you can look where everything is at. And remember, yes, there's 8, keep in mind, there's 8 rule sets, but this is a very condensed rule book, and I'm just incredibly happy how this came out. So there's your table of contents. Some of the various tokens, cards, boards, and other content in the game. Yes, this game is fairly big. But this is a nice page I threw together where you could go back and say, wait, what are the red tracking tokens and what are the, adventure markers? So that came out, I thought, very nice. Where you could just refer back, the war banner for the Avalon Adventure board game, so on and so forth. Now, I'm going to discuss this really quick, and this is something that was brought up by a few people, and I just want to say something before we talk about this. I don't want to bring anyone down. I don't want any kind of, like kind of sympathy or anything like that. Never really shared this openly, but I just think, at this time I definitely want to say something. So I won't take up a lot of your time with this, but it's something that I did want to mention as we move on to the credits page. There were a lot of awesome people that I tried to fit everyone. I'm a very grateful person, and I tried to fit everyone here. And again, I know everyone's excited, everyone's elated, I am, but I just want to mention something here that a few people had brought up to me, and I was very closed about it because I didn't want to bring anyone down or ruin anyone's excitement. And it's about my mom. And she passed away in the making of Dungeon Crusade. And it was a few years back, and I just kept it tucked away. I didn't want to bring anyone down, and it was very hard to deal with, guys. I'll be honest with you. I'm human, just like everyone else. And the loss of a parent, especially your mom, it's very hard. I'm a very strong psychologically and mentally strong person, and I can tell you, with my mom had breast cancer, and so I was going through that, and of course I worked for over 20 years with children and adults stricken with developmental disabilities. I have a family. Doing Dungeon Crusade, it was a lot. I had to start another video, but I just wanted to be very open about this and say that, when you read this, she was a big part of this. and I don't think she understood Dungeon Crusade much. I, of course, show her all the videos, and she was excited. I'd always tell her, like I said here, about the amazing people I met, and we would talk, like usually, I don't know, like between 6 and 8 p.m. every night, see how she's doing. And she was very excited about this, and she loved hearing about just the people and what was going on. And so I just wanted to say something about that. And, I love her. It's your mom. And she did a lot. And so I just want to give her a lot of credit in that. But again, maybe a couple years ago, I couldn't have really talked like this, but it's part of life, guys. And, I want to say something, I speak from the heart, and hope you don't mind me saying this. I would tell your mom that you love her. Shut this video off right now and tell her, call her. And always be on good terms with your parents, because they're really your best friends. And it really hurts when they're gone. So I don't want to bring anyone down. I'm very happy that we're wrapping it up, but I did want to say some words about my mom and just thank her. I love her for everything she did, and just all the amazing people that, she learned about in doing the game. Okay? So there you go. Moms are the best. Dads, too. Parents. They are your best friends. Okay. Sorry, I did want to get that out. Back to this, though. Of course, here is everyone, who worked on the game. Freddie for the illustration. Charlene, my good friend Charlene, was doing the proofreading earlier on. Of course, we have Ilpo in there for his, for working with the Dungeon Crusade rule set. Our amazing production managers. And then I wanted to give a shout, of course, the artists are in there. A lot of people who helped along the way. The fans, friends are in here. Massive thank you to my brilliant and amazing friend Ilpo for his help on the rulebook. And I wanted to give a special shout out to all of the amazing YouTubers. Daniel from the Dungeon Dive, of course, just an awesome guy. He did so much for the game. Rob Oren, just going through the list right here. Ed from Ed's Adventure. Hello, Ed, if you're out there. Adam Smith from Rolling Solo. Derek Daniel from Kanji Studios. Monty from Just Play One. Lauren Gilton from the amazing Board Gamer 69. He does a lot of French coverage of board games. Truly awesome guy. Justin Allman from Board Game Losers. And I make sure I mention everyone. Colin, the amazing Colin from One Stop Co-op Shop. He did an amazing playthrough of the Avalon Adventure board game, and he did a terrific job. So I wanted to give them, props and say thank you so much. I'm very grateful to each and every one of them for what they did. I just want to make sure I get everyone's name. But if you covered the game, do me a favor, let me know, and I will try to fit your name in there, because I'm very grateful to everyone. Paige, you're probably moving on, because I really have to get to the Kickstarter update, and I want to get that dispatched for everyone. So we're going to go through this fairly briskly now. Just all the components you get in your Crusader of the Realm, Slayer of the Realm edition. Page we looked at before. Here's your introduction to the game, the story I created. There's much more story to this. So again, just cut it down, being brief, to get you into the game, overview of what Dungeon Crusade is, and the very important page to me, or section rather, new features and revisions. This is, of course, it talks, reduced game time, greatly reduced game time, the solo Crusader mode, scalable difficulty reference card, the minion movement speed track, the newly revised combat system. There's, of course, the newly revised combat system that cuts the game time down by a lot, and we still have the classic combat system. Can select either one. And then the video series. Some people like watching the video series on how to learn a game. We got you covered right here, so they can navigate to YouTube, to the Groovis Games Unlimited channel, which you're watching right now, and they can watch how to play. And again, we showed this before. Like I said, from the rulebook goes right into the Avalon Adventure board game, and we looked at this. There were some revisions to this, but again, the graphic design was so good, and it's only but a few pages for this. If you watch one of the playthroughs, you're going to learn how to play the game just from that. Very nicely detailed with everything. And so there is the Avalon Adventure board game right at the start of the rulebook. Okay, before we move on to the rest, I do want to say And it's mentioned here that this is optional, of course. You know, it says it right here in the first few lines, optional. You can play this, or you could go right into Dungeon Crusade. So we already looked at this from a prior video. I'm going to put this video in that series, so it'll kind of be with that one. And moving right along, this is another page here, just even though that annoying thing is right there. And this is just victory and defeat and some other things like, you know, how to win at Dungeon Crusade, how you're going to lose. A nice little edit here on these are the 4 different ways the terror track can go up. You know, if it ever gets to defeated, that's it. The heroes have lost the scenario. So there's just a nice little reminder there. Yeah, this is, of course, this one and the following page are brand new pages you haven't seen yet. Breakdown of a hero card. I listed everything here for you. The Dungeon UI board with the new minion movement speed track. So that's really nice. But you can see just from this, very cut and dry, to the point, nothing too verbose about it. Another page I put together is your village board. It goes over the different services in the village, very, again, quick to the point, and then on to how to play Dungeon Crusade. And this, of course, Ilpo, I'm going to say him again, just an amazing guy. There were some edits made to this to make it even better. Quick little notes in here, how to play. And again, this rulebook now for just Dungeon Crusade is 9 pages, guys. Images on each side, but still, that's cut down, very quick and to the point on how to play. Actions a hero can do, free actions. It goes over the 5 phases of a turn. This came out very nice. And again, we carried this over from the other reference guide, but it's, you know, it's now the Dungeon Crusade rulebook. And I'm very happy how this came out. And right here is the combat section, so it flows very nicely into this. Oh, that's Celebration Day here. And then combat with the minions. You know, you combating minions in Dungeon Crusade, you use, whether you select the revised combat system or the classic combat, you're going to use, you combat minions the same way. It was known as the evolved minions, but now that the official revised Crusaders Handbook done, it's just, you know, combat with minions. But you guys know it as evolved combat with minions. So here it goes here. Again, you probably saw this before. There were some revisions and edits made to this. And then it goes right into classic combat system. But hopefully you can see, very quick and to the point, explaining it to get you into playing the game. So right here it starts the classic combat system, talks about that. And then we move into the revised combat system. And this right here has drastically cut down game time by a lot. Very fast-paced, what did I say? Like very action-oriented with that. So that moves the game along much more briskly. So there's your revised combat system. There's your scalable difficulty reference card section. We looked at this before, didn't we? I think we did. Minion movement, speed track, the quest cards here. Heroes movement, they can only move orthogonally, but they can attack, in anything that's around them that's adjacent, you can attack. And moving on to just attribute tests that your heroes have to make. Examples of the tokens here, master tokens. Again, I hope you're enjoying this. I'm incredibly happy how this came out. How to discover a secret room, how to pick locks. And then moving on, incantation track if a hex is placed over village. Everyone's favorite fetch hound, Albus, that talks about how he's the link to the village. As you know, your heroes cannot leave the dungeon until they complete the quest table they're working on. So Albus is a very important game mechanic because he gets your heroes, new gear, potions, consumables, torches, all of that. So that talks about Albus. And then everyone's favorite stuff, loot and items. Talk a little bit about the mining and crafting here. Next page, you're going to see it full blown with that. And here's your chart for selling things to the blacksmith. Guys, we covered everything in this rulebook for you. Hope you're enjoying this. And before I forget, yes, this will be available for download in the near future. So stay tuned for that. And then this is a new, let's see if I can get rid of that thing. If I go here. No. But anyway, this is the mining and crafting page. This is something new you haven't seen. And this was, I mean, this came out a couple years ago, but I think this was a very unique game mechanic or system to have in, was mining and crafting. And this is when you make your power gems. So I did a nice graphic design for you, very quick and to the point of how to mine and craft. There's actually more graphic design than there is words, I think. And that, but it's very, very simple. Again, this kind of, you know, strikes the tone of how quick and easy everything is in the revised rulebook, at least for this part for Dungeon Crusade. And guess what, guys? That's it. That is the new Dungeon Crusade rule set, and I am very happy with that. And we're going to move on here, like we talked about. Here's the Tomb of Kaladar, the one-page rule set for when you play the Ultimate Death Trap Dungeon. So there's a few things you do differently. So there's that. And of course, everyone's favorite rule set, which is only 2 pages. Yep, 2 pages. The Solo Crusader mode, which I think a lot of people are going to be playing. There's a whole video series on this, but in a nutshell, select one hero. There's the new mercenary camp that's right here. You can hire up 1 or 2 mercenaries to accompany your hero. If you're thinking like Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, there you go. That's exactly what that at least I had in mind for that. So you can hire a few mercenaries to go out with you. Super reduced game time with this. A very quick game compared to if you're running multiple heroes. But I want to say at this point, I am again so happy that we have the classic way, where you could run with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or Mega Dungeon Crusade with 10, 11, or 12 heroes. Yes, I'm going to be doing scenarios with that in Quest where you take out that many heroes. Definitely want to use the revised combat system with that, but I just want to say I'm very happy with the classic way to play with multiple heroes, or you could play the Solo Crusader mode. So there's like the first, it's only 2 pages, but an image on both sides. And we looked at this before, of course. So that came out really good. That's been implemented. And yes, you can play the Avalon Adventure board game if you're playing the Solo Crusader mode, because I know I want to play that way, and I know there's tons of people that want to play that way also. And you hire basically henchmen who will accompany your hero, your selected hero, for the Solo Crusader mode. So you can play the Avalon Adventure board game and with henchmen and get that game in. Guys, can you tell there's a lot of game to this game, so to speak? Yeah, like there's 8 different rule sets, and then finally we are going to go into the House of Chance games. And real quick, Crusader of the Realm people, you are going to get Tower Attack. Very simple push your luck game. This is basically the rule set right here, just this half page right here. Super easy, fun game. If you got the Slayer of the Realm edition or the add-on for the other 3 House of Chance games, here's your rule set for Heroes versus Monsters, and it goes into here. And I'll tell you, we just carried over the graphic design, made some edits to this, and you don't have to read all of this right away. Take your time with it. Maybe play Tower Attack, and then when you get acclimated to that, then go on to Heroes versus Monster. There's a lot of game here, guys, like a ton of game. But moving right along, this is your House of Chance games section. This describes Heroes versus Monsters, and then Skulljack, basically a quick version of 21 or Blackjack. You have to defeat the evil dealer Skulljack. Very nicely laid out graphic design, tells you exactly how to play. If you've never played Blackjack or 21, don't worry. This teaches you how to play, and again, only basically 1 page, a little more than 1 page of rules. And my favorite game of all of these House of Chance games is The Adventures of Bravely the Knight. I love this game. It's a miniature death trap dungeon. We got to take Bravely through this death trap dungeon, and the machine here, so to speak, I wanted to cross an arcade machine with a dungeon crawl game with medieval. The machine is stocked with 2,500 gold, so whatever Bravely gets out of this death trap dungeon, your heroes get to spend in the village for Celebration Day. And you know what, let me backtrack just a little bit, because someone might be new looking at this and like, wait, what the heck are House of Chance games, and how does all this work? Let me just really quick say, we were talking about Celebration Day. Again, in a nutshell, Celebration Day is when the heroes go back to the village to turn in their quests for the quest table they were working on. There is this little building right here called the House of Chance. You are randomly going to select one of 4 House of Chance games. You don't use all these at the same time. That was a huge misconception people had. You'll break the game. You don't do that. You roll a d4, whatever the result is, that is the one game you play. So that is what the House of Chance is. It's a little gambling hall in the village that the heroes can go enter into on Celebration Day. Okay. Some people are like, what the world are House of Chance games? So that is what that is. So going back to the Adventures of Bravely Tonight, nice graphic design, to the point with the rules and that's actually about like a page and a half in that. But I think you'll enjoy just going through all this and the room of spikes and the treasure rooms, and there's a treasure chamber where you get to roll 1d10. You can find a magic sword. You can be teleported into this dungeon. So there that is. And as we're wrapping this up, and again, I'm going to say I hope you're enjoying how this revised Crusaders Handbook came out. There's just so much information here, but it's compacted. And again, I'm just very happy with it. At the end, I just put some game variants, a couple rule clarifications, and a fact. If someone has questions about stuff, questions have been asked, over the last few years. So we wanted to put those in there for you. There's the 5 races of Avalon I stuck in there. This is a very interesting part right here, that if you got those extra, the difficulty decks, the game ships with normal difficulty monsters, which are pretty tough. I love tough games. This is not a cakewalk game. But you could get the expert and the heroic monster difficulty decks, and I included 2 variants on how to use them. So I'm very happy that's in this section here. So you can enjoy Dungeon Crusade that way. And we'll just touch base with this. Variant 1, random difficulty monster spawn. What you're going to do is you're going to grab your normal difficulty decks, your expert decks, and your heroic decks. You're going to mix them together, in the associated, minion level 1, champion level 2, so on and so forth. And then you're going to draw. You don't know what your heroes are going to be fighting. You could be fighting a heroic difficulty Blackwood Prowler, or you might fight a normal Blackwood Prowler. So that's what that is. It's the luck of the draw. You don't know. Then this one right here, monsters difficulty scales up upon slaying them. This is a very cool variant to use. So what happens is you're only going to use your normal difficulty monsters. So let's say that we slayed the red version of the Blackwood Prowler, the normal version. Okay, you're going to put that card after you kill it back in the game box, and you're going to get the expert version out. So it kind of leveled up as your hero killed it. So let's say that red version of the expert difficulty was slain. You're going to get the heroic one. So you can see monsters kind of scale up as you kill them. And of course you could do other kind of game variants, that whatever your heart desires. But these 2 are right in the book for you, so you could give those a try. And if that isn't enough, there's an option for starting the Avalon Adventure board game, or starting Dungeon Crusade after playing the Avalon Adventure board game. We won't get into this. I'll let you read that for yourself. But you can have cold villagers, where they're not going to help your heroes heal. Or you could have friendly villagers, cold villagers, where, they won't help them heal or restore their essence. You're going to have to use your gold. Or you could use the option of friendly villagers, where they're going to heal the heroes and welcome them and patch up their wounds. And you could assign a d6, 1 to 3, 4 to 6 for these, roll it, and let fate decide. There's actually another cool variant with the unknown guardian level. I won't get into this, but you can have it unknown what level of guardian it's going to spawn into the dungeon. So this section, it's small, but there's a lot of good stuff that you can mod your game with and try out these other variants. And then lastly, here we are at the how to set up your dungeon boards. Okay, and we'll take a look at these pages here. So the ancient runes, here's how you set that dungeon up, and the Tomb of Kaladar. And notice here there's like this kind of legend up here, the key. Took the time to put where you're going to put your treasure chest tokens, where you're going to put your mining tokens at. and the trap symbols, or where you're going to put the traps at. The nice thing is, well, the treasure chest tokens, as you may, they're double-sided. That just lets you know that your hero has found the treasure chest and you're going to draw from the treasure chest deck. The mining site is always random. There's 8 potential sites, only 4 real ones. So each game, the mining sites A, B, C, and D will always be random. Well, as you probably know, this game, the dungeon is static, but everything that goes into the dungeon is randomly generated game to game. You'll never see the same game twice, and it creates this. What did my very good friend DJ Sinclair, hello DJ if you're listening, it creates like this random narrative every time you play, with the encounter deck and what the monsters do. It's a very unique thing that's just, I don't know, what the thing with Dungeon Crusade. And then lastly, the traps are randomly generated, so you don't know if there's a few different there's that you've sprung a trap and a trap where there's not a trap, so it's always randomly generated for that. So there's that page for this. And then of course, if you have the expansion pack, the dungeon expansion pack, here is your Castle Blackwood, how to set that up. The Cavern of Lost Souls, how to set that up. Still, that's one of my favorite boards because it's like, if you know this dungeon, I've always said it feels very vast. And when I design these, when I designed this one, it's like there's this outdoor area. Up here is this little village called Briarwood, and then it gets into this Valley of Shadows, and then it gets into the cavern right here, but then tucked away there's this secret dungeon. And there's a lot of quests that pertain to this. There's a crypt down here, Crypt of the Betrayer, and kind of like an underground thing. There's a lot to this dungeon board. It just feels very vast. There's the Swamp of Sorrow here, and Dugan's Mining Camp. And all the dungeon boards are 3 by 2 feet, but for some reason this thing just always feels very huge. I love it. Just very, might sound weird, very MMORPG-ish, and I love those games. So you're in for a treat with the Cavern of Lost Souls. So there's that. And guys, lastly, here is the index. Again, this is work in progress. This is the last thing we're doing. This will be finished up by tomorrow evening. So there's going to be more entries. I think we're going to have to lose our Death Knight because there's going to be a lot more entries here with the final one. But I did want you to kind of see it. We'll try to keep our friendly level 2 champion Death Knight here, Freddie Lopez. I said, Freddie, we need an awesome Death Knight. And I don't want to give you any spoilers, but there's a special ability that deals with his breath. It's called Breath of Death. And I'll just leave that for you. So that I asked him, can you put some green mist coming out of his mouth? So there you go. That's a level 4 champion monster Death Knight. But that's kind of what the index is going to look like. Probably a few more entries. Probably have to scale this guy down. And finally, on the back is well, I can't turn it this way, but I put the map of Avalon, so you could just take a look at that. Whew! And guess what? That is the revised Crusaders Handbook. I hope you like going through that. I am very happy with it. Again, very condensed down to the point. 8 rule books inside one, and I think you're going to love it. Okay, let's close out the video here because I have got to get to work on the monthly Kickstarter update for everyone. And we are back at this stuff to wrap it up. That was a lot, but I hope that you guys enjoyed going over that. I hope you liked what you saw. I'm very happy with where this game is at now. And we'll end with that it was a lot of work for sure. Tons of work. But I have said this before, I would change nothing else in this game. With the few revisions we made, definitely with the revised Crusaders Handbook, the reduced game time, the scalable difficulty reference card, the game has definitely been perfected and honed. The only thing I'd like to do is, of course, that huge expansion that I've been working on for next year, add more to this. But where the game is at now, it's very solid, and I guess I have OCD. I'm a perfectionist, and I'm happy. I'm content. I can sleep easier because you guys are going to be happy with how this came out, and that makes me happy and at ease. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Real quick, we'll fade out with, remember, Pledge Manager will be closing around the end of May. I will keep you updated on that. It won't be, don't think it's closing like next week or anything like that. No, we'll keep it open as long as possible. I know that, people want to get in there. Please remember, though, I'm going to say this again, make sure that your email is in there for your tracking information. Make sure that your address is updated. I've been helping some folks out with getting their address updated with the amazing support team manager and team at Pledge Manager. If you need anything, reach out to me, through email or message me, whatever you want. I will be glad to help you out. Make sure that all your information is set and your pledge is locked and you're good to go. Like I said, production will be starting this coming week. We're going to finish up that index and forward this revised rulebook to the good folks at the manufacturer. And then it's just going to be really me working directly with them and giving you updates how everything is going. And I just want to make mention, as we're actually looking at all this content, remember, this is a reprint. All of the hard work has kind of been done besides, the revised rulebook and then, some extra content that I put in the game. So, 97% of all the hard work is done. They just are waiting on this stuff here. We're on the schedule. They're ready. We're going to get this done. So I don't think it's going to take that long, but we will keep that Pledge Manager open for people. We're not going to shut it automatically. Do not worry. And I think that's about it. Yes, the 8 rule sets. We went over that. And I think, okay, I always make sure I cover everything for you guys. Again, thank you for your time. I love you guys. I'm so happy going into summer, get this thing shipped out, and it's just a great season in all of our life. And I hope you didn't mind me sharing a little personal thing about me. And again, I don't want any kind of, pity party sympathy. It's life. Things like that happen. And but I'm just glad I was very candid and, I for a while wanted to shield people from that. I didn't want to bring them down, and I just wanted to keep the spirits high and everyone happy and elated. But it's all good, my friends. All right, I'm going to get back to work. Expect the Kickstarter update. And, I'll do a video for you. I'll throw that up here, and we'll just go over that. It's really what you saw here is going to be what's in there. So you're kind of like first to know if you watch this video. All right, I'm going to get working here, guys. Have a great evening. Have a great week. And I'm going to be talking to you very soon with all the other Crusade stuff. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.